Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, you guys, to AG University Podcast. It is I, your lead dancing unicorn at Anna Grace Newell on all major platforms. And now you can catch us at AG University Podcast on Instagram for a little daily dose of angel readings, angel updates, somatic breath work. Who knows? Honestly, lots of fun stuff happening over there. And I'm so excited because as this episode is coming live on Wednesday, I'm going to be in Costa Rica on our retreat. So I'm recording as close to real time as I can, which I typically do. So I'm about 7 days out from production before this gets handed over to my production team. So, anyways, I'm so excited because today is my final day unpacking. My flight is tomorrow morning. So, yes, by the time this is live, I will be in Costa Rica hosting our first ever international AG University retreat. And I definitely see this being a reoccurring event, whether it's in Costa Rica or somewhere else. Who knows? We'll see where the wind blows me. But for those of you guys who weren't able to make this retreat, I can't wait to tell you about all the things because I know there's going to be so much magic and synchronicities and just amazing, beautiful healing, transformation, all the things happening. So that's an exciting episode coming soon. Tell you guys, all the stories, my first one-on-one, I guess, kind of setting with some more AG University girlies. And I'm really excited to get feedback, see what you guys are loving, what you're needing. All of that is just really leading up to more of the kind of dance somatic work that I've been posting and hinting at on my social media. So there's some exciting opportunities and offerings that I am working on for those of you guys who maybe haven't been able to get in a reading with me. As always, you can join my newsletter, link in bio. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Anna Grace Newell. I'm a clairvoyant medium and Akashic Records practitioner and intuitive guide. And I help people connect with their intuition and their soul's purpose. That is kind of my superpower, creating safe spaces for basically anyone. Even if you're brand new to this work, you don't even know what I'm talking about, it's okay. I'm going to break it down for you. Super easy. Come one, come all. We are all speaking the universal language of love. So, highly recommend you guys joining my newsletter. I promise I will not spam you. That is where my scheduling link goes out. Sometimes I give away free readings every 3 to 6 months. I always try to do a reading giveaway. So, sprinkling in opportunities. And then I think I'm going to start doing a kind of group membership portal as well that will give you guys access to healing and Akashic records on a larger scale. That way I can reach more people. So, yes, I think that's everything that I'm cooking up right now. And I have lots of exciting things to catch you guys up on. I haven't done a solo episode in a minute. So, well, I did a solo episode that came out on Valentine's Day, but I didn't want to tell you guys about it because I didn't want to just be that girl that's like, let me tell you about my sugar detox on Valentine's Day while we're all just eyeballs deep in chocolate covered strawberries. So I didn't want to do you like that. So today I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a rundown. It's been very interesting, kind of my detox journey and really how it transpired into my latest just fiasco. It's always something, okay? I really do believe that I'm someone that rapidly just up levels and advances, but I always tell you guys this, shit breaks, shit gets rowdy, shit gets cuckoo bananas as you're about to go into a new version of yourself or a new, level of life, this video game that we are living in called life. So, okay, let's run it back. Where do I even begin? I was recently had an autoimmune diagnosis. I'm not sharing the full. I'm going to share when it gets a little bit further out. I just didn't want so much noise. A lot of people were like, "Wait, what's wrong with you?" Just autoimmune. To me, they all. If we're taking a holistic approach, autoimmune is autoimmune. It is what it is. I don't want to get too nitty gritty. Also, I don't want to claim any titles. I'm really big about not claiming. I will never say I have blank because I'm like that is saying I have it has ownership or there's ownership in my body. So I just say oh, I was recently, got this diagnosis, but I'm gonna clear it. That's really my mindset. I don't want to anchor myself too close to this identity as someone who is sick or, whatever. That's just me. I really want to keep my mind and my body and my spirit in this alignment with the version of me that's already healed, right? Because I believe that and my belief system creates my reality, right? And maybe you disagree with that. That's okay, but that's just what I believe. So, kind of another reason why I'm not going around saying I have this. I'm not trying to be super secretive. It's just once I was so in it and I didn't want too much information thrown at me all at once. I still felt a little bit overwhelmed. Anyways, worked with functional medicine doctors, did a sugar detox, which a lot of people say sugar-free, grain-free. I think dairy-free too is a typical autoimmune diet. And for me, it was really doing like an elimination diet. So I could figure out what actually was triggering, and which we ended up getting back to. It is gluten for me, which I've always known. No surprises there. I just always kind of dabbled with it because I was like, I don't really feel like it's affecting me, without realizing the amount of inflammation and other things that it was creating inside of my body that maybe wasn't like so obvious, I guess, for me to think like I can never touch it again. So, anyways, I went no sugar for 30 days, and everyone's like, what about natural sugars? Like, I'm talking no sugar. Like, I just did vegetables, protein. That was it. Couldn't do fruit, nothing, nothing, nothing for 30 days. And I had so many emotional breakdowns. It was crazy. I felt like I don't even know, like that, like really weird PMS or hormonal where you're like crying, you don't know why you're crying. But like, I felt that way, like, I would say like a few points, and I was not even close to starting my period. It was very weird. And so I shared a little bit of this on my Instagram, but I want to go in depth here. I think there's a few more layers that I could go. So essentially this one night I get into bed and I am crying. Like, I'm so upset. I couldn't even really tell you why. Austin comes in. He's like, "Are you crying?" Because I'm really not. Here's the thing. I know I'm a Cancer, which is a water sign, and I really should cry all the time. I'm not like a super emotional crier. I definitely, don't get me wrong. I have like emotions ups and downs just like anyone else, but I wouldn't say like when I'm crying something is Austin's like, "Whoa, are you crying? What happened?" So he gets in bed and he's just kind of like snuggling behind me, and he's like, "Well, do you want to talk about it?" And I honestly was embarrassed because I really couldn't articulate what I was upset about. And when you're like, I'm just like, I don't know. And I don't want to play into the like, I'm just a silly girl. We cry sometimes. Like, I didn't want to feel that way, but sometimes that's okay. We can be silly girls and cry sometimes. But it was so weird. I was like, in some ways, it was like I almost felt kind of like homesick. Like, I still will have times where I really miss Tennessee. My whole family and all my friends are there. And although we've definitely made a lot more friends and a lot more community in Florida, I still like sometimes will just like miss that like comfortability or just like having my family. I'm not really sure. Honestly, don't know. So I'm crying. I'm super upset. It's very weird. I basically cry myself to sleep, wake up in the middle of the night, full body freaking night sweats. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like, sweating to the point where I'm like, I have to change my shirt. I'm like, this is so weird. And this was like day like 10 of the detox. So, anyways, in the middle of the night, take off my shirt. I'm stripping down. In the morning, I immediately summon my guides. I go into the Akashic records. I'm like, yo, what the heck was that? I just had the weirdest emotional breakdown. I'm sweating. And my guides immediately were like, well, sugar feeds your trauma. And right now you're starving it. You're starving your body of a lot of comfortability and a lot of things that maybe we reach for out of habit or addiction. I mean, I hate to say it, but I really do believe sugar is a drug. I mean, it's a drug. I'm on the drug. Here's the thing. I don't know if I could ever live a sugar-free life. I did it for 30 days and I liked the challenge. I liked to experience what I was experiencing. And also I felt like I really did energetically detox just as much as I physically detoxed. My skin looked the best it's ever looked in my whole entire life, ever. I will never forget. I got on a FaceTime. My therapist was like, every time I see you, you are aging in reverse. I was like, girl, I better be, because I'm out here just eating spinach and protein shakes. It actually wasn't that terrible, but it's not a lifestyle. How about that? So I start going into this. I'm like, interesting. Okay, so sugar feeds our trauma. Can we go a little bit more into that? And essentially, if you think about whenever we're reaching for these little sugary things, right, it kind of creates this little hit, this dopamine hit, or we're getting comfort or we're getting something out of it. And I really think that this is kind of why I'm saying, like, I'm not here to say like sugar is bad, cut it out. I had a situation that blood work that needed to be looked at immediately. So it was good for me to be like, hey, right now, sugar's not in line with me. But it did make me completely reevaluate the times when I was reaching for sugar. And I think that's where it comes into sugar feeding our trauma because one, we are addicted to it. Two, why are we? Why are we reaching for things that maybe we know aren't in alignment with our highest version of self? Like things that I used to do would be like, oh, I would like to have a little sweet or a little chocolate at night or like a little something. And it's like, why? Is it a habit? Or am I reaching for things out of just wanting comfort versus the intention being just true alignment and love and whatever. There was always a stigma kind of attached with it. It's like, oh, do I need sugar right now? Or, I think that's where we get into like looking at our thought process and the intention behind reaching for certain things as well. But I also do believe that sugar feeds cancer. It feeds certain things in the body because it carries that vibration of, why are we reaching for these things to change our state in some way, shape, or form? And typically, I'm just speaking generally, that state could be, we're feeling sad, we're feeling lonely, we're feeling this, we're feeling that. So we'll have a little ice cream. I'm not saying that's all the time, but I'm saying that some of the times we will reach for things out of comfort. And what we're really doing is we're perpetuating this thought narrative inside of our head that is a lower vibrational habit loop. And it's okay. We have them. I have them. Everyone has them. But it was just very interesting for me to remove that thing. I felt like a drug addict. I literally was having sweats. Like, I'm like, am I having withdrawals right now? Am I okay? Like, it was so interesting. Like I said, it's not a forever thing. Did I immediately go back to like day 31? I had strawberries and banana in my smoothie. I was like, here's the thing. I don't care what anybody says. Fruit is not bad. I am eating fruit. But I did slowly add a few things back into my diet. And this past cycle, like coming through, about to start up my period, my face started breaking out. And it did not at all when I was completely off of like literally everything. So for right now, I'm just staying in a grain-free zone. I'm just going to kind of keep out everything, grain, gluten, all the things, and just keep focusing on upping my protein intake and just doing the best I can. I'm not going to go completely sugar free, but I will say I do think it's like anything. I don't think that we need to have these same things every single day. Like that's why I cycle caffeine. Like I don't have caffeine every single day out of habit. I no longer reach for sugar in every single situation. Like I used to always be like, I need honey in my matcha, or I need this, or I need that. And like adding sugar to so many things, I have completely reevaluated. And I challenged myself to really tune in and be like, do I really need that? Or is that just a habit? Or is that just something that makes me comfortable? Or is that just because I'm used to doing that? What do I actually like for the version of me right now? What would the healthiest version of me actually do? So yes, that has been a very interesting journey. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm in the midst of still, I did kind of figure out some more food triggers, and I got my Dutch test results back in, and my cortisol levels are normal, which is amazing. And I really do credit that to going on my daily walks and doing a somatic practice, which I am going to be sharing and teaching with you guys. But it's like, I'm kind of just still like every day I'm taking a step, further and sharing what I'm learning along the way. But the sugar was very interesting. And like I said, try go sugar free for 3 days and see what happens, see how you feel, see what comes up. Because I really do feel like it started a chain reaction around detoxing. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. So I ended the liver detox on February like 8th, I think. And I'm so bad with timelines. I don't even know why I tried. Somewhere early February. And then on Valentine's Day, Austin was so sweet and he surprised me with a spa day, and I did a float pod, which is essentially, it's really cool. It's a I want to say hyperbolic chamber. That's not it. It's a sensory deprivation chamber. It's a big, huge pod, like a hot tub with a lid on it. And it's full of salt water, but like Epsom salts. It's really good too if your body needs magnesium, because I know it has lots of magnesium in it, and essentially there's so much salt in it, you float to the top. Like it's the craziest sensation. I will say though, they really want to just like close you in there, close the lid and turn the lights off. See, I don't really like being alone in a water pod in the dark. I kept like a little sliver of light, but you put these little earpods in, and you're just it really is. It's like you're floating. It's like you're in a gravity-less floating, like the ultimate meditation. Your body is relaxed. You don't have to like hold up any muscles. It's a very unique experience. It's really great for people who struggle with meditation or struggle kind of getting in deep, because it's like it literally, yeah, it's a sensory deprivation, and it's 1 hour long. Which I will say the hour was kind of long. I could have done like 40 minutes super comfortably. I started to have to pee towards the end, and so that was my only thing. An hour was like a smidge long. Anyways, it's really cool. And they have them at a lot of, they're called float spas or float pods at a lot of places. It's a fun thing, a fun activity to check out. It was very sweet. of Austin because I've been wanting to go to this place. So after I get out of my float spa, he's like, well, let's go get a massage together. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, love couples massage. I'm such a massage girly. I've talked about this all the time. My love language is physical touch. Physical touch me all day long. I love it. I need it. So we're getting a couples massage, and it's so funny because I've totally turned Austin into a spa boy. He was not a spa boy before, but now he is a spa boy. So we found this new place. We've never been. I'm really excited. We walk in and there's two tables. There's two men that greet us. Okay, so Austin's guy, he's like from the Czech Republic, I believe. He has this really unique accent. He's like super strong. Then the guy that gets me, he is, I would say, in his late 50s, early 60s. He had completely white hair. And he was a total queen. I loved. And he had his hair back in a little ponytail and a little beard. And I'm not going to say his name on here because I don't know. I have to be careful when I talk on this podcast because it was a really good experience. It was just like this story takes an interesting turn. So I lay down and he starts massaging. Oh, actually, no. This is the craziest part. I walk in and he immediately goes, what happened to your left shoulder? And I'm like, well, damn. I had surgery a few years ago. I've dislocated it a couple times since then. I've had these shoulder issues. And he's like, huh, okay, I'm going to work on that. And I was like, okay. And I hadn't at this point, I had not had an issue with my shoulder since 2020 before quarantine when I fell off a mechanical bull from bull riding and I dislocated it. And you know what? I deserve that. Okay. After that, and I'd had surgery to fix the shoulder, fall off a mechanical bull, but I'd had surgery when I was like 17. I fell off the mechanical bull when I was like 27. So no issues for 10 years. That was back in 2020. And I really hadn't had any issues with it since. And so actually, I think I had dislocated it one other time. Anyways, sorry. But still, no issues recently in years. And he lays me down and he starts massaging, and like what takes place, Austin is having like a very normal massage. What transpires is like somehow, and I'm like, of course the universe, I would attract someone that is doing some type of body work, somatic release on me. Like it was no longer massage. Like this man literally he was like whispering in my ear. He's like, okay, I want you to breathe in, and on this exhale, we're going to release your shoulder. And I was like, okay. I'm kind of like along for the ride, but I'm like, this is not really a massage anymore. We're doing something. I wasn't prepared for this, but okay. So he starts like doing all this stuff on my shoulder. He's like rubbing, he's like telling me to inhale and exhale really intensely. Austin is probably laying beside me like, what the fuck is happening? Like, so, and he like releases my shoulder. And at one point he's like, oh yeah, that's been in there for a long time. That really needed to let go. It's like, I mean, hell, I believe it. The body keeps score, but I'm just laughing because I went in thinking I was just going to have like, a little scalp massage. No, this guy said, I see something going on with your shoulder and I'm going to manually, somatically heal your shoulder. I was like, okay, we're doing this. We're doing this. At one point, he had both of his fingers in my ear. I'm not sure, in my ear holes. I don't know what we were doing there, but I was going along with it. He had bent my legs up backwards. I was in a pretzel at one point. At the end of the massage, y'all, I'm not kidding. He literally said, "Thank you so much for your participation." I felt like I had done an acrobatic performance. We left and I'm like, Austin, were you wondering at any point what was going on in there? And he's like, I mean, there was a lot of heavy breathing. There was a lot of heavy breathing. I was like, I know, and the guy really was so nice. Like I said, it was a positive experience. It was just not a typical massage. That's why I don't want him to think I was making fun of it, because I wasn't. I just wasn't what I was expecting. And it was kind of funny. I mean, I was getting basically a wet willy. No, not really. It wasn't a wet willy, a dry willy. His fingers were in my ear holes at one point. It was just unique. How about that? But I'm always down for a little something funny. Okay, so that's on Wednesday. Okay. So on a few days later, I fly home because I'm going wedding dress shopping. And, he's done all these things, released my shoulder. He's like, I felt like he was doing Reiki on my shoulder at one point. He just wasn't like saying those exact words, but it felt something was happening. So I'm feeling great, feeling alive. Austin and I go out to dinner. We have a great little Valentine's Day. We filmed Pookie is Looking Fire voiceover. That's my favorite voiceover right now on TikTok. Anyways, so that was Wednesday. I get to my parents' house in Memphis on Saturday because I'm going wedding dress shopping with my mom and my sister. So Saturday night, my parents come home from a wedding. My parents are a hoot and a holler and a boot scoot and boogie. Good old time. Let me tell you what. They'd had a couple of cocktails. We're laughing, we're giggling. We stay up till like 11:30. I was telling my dad just read the Surrender Experiment and he's obsessed with Michael Singer now. So we're planning a trip to come to Florida so that my dad can meet Michael Singer. That was part of our conversations we were having that night. And he's like, I love the book so much. I'd be so starstruck. I was like, oh my gosh, my dad must be protected at all costs. He's so pure. So I go to sleep. My parents go to sleep. My parents' bedroom is at the end of a very long hallway. So there's like kind of a long wing that's happening. So they always close the door and lock it. My mom, my mom's just paranoid. She's scared of everything. She like will not stay home alone ever. So she bars and locks like every door ever. We love her. But anyways, so she locks the doors. They go to sleep. I am upstairs. I get into bed. I'm asleep, just tired, been traveling all day, sleeping super hard. And I wake up and my arm is above my head. I'm on YouTube, so you guys can see me acting this out right now. My arm is above my head or like up behind my head, like completely hyperextended. And it's like my arm got so hyperextended, I felt it like pull in that spot, like, oh no, it's like about to come out or dislodge. It's in a really weird spot. And since I was asleep and I didn't really have like my immediate reaction was like, oh, and I sat up really fast. And that forward motion with my arm completely like going backwards dislocates my shoulder, completely comes out of socket. Completely out of socket. It's 6 in the morning. I've been asleep in the middle of a REM cycle. I am so confused. First of all, I don't know where the fuck I am. I'm like, where's Austin? What is going on? He's in Florida. He's not with me. I'm alone at my parents' house and I like crawl over to my phone and I'm trying to Google with one arm how to put my shoulder back in a socket, which I really should know by now. But usually when it dislocates, it dislocated only a little bit to the point where I kind of just like wiggled it around and went back in. This time it's not. And it is the most visceral nerve pain. Like people who have had nerve pain understand this. You start sweating. You're like, I'm going to vomit. I'm going to faint. I'm going to black out. Like I can't hear out of my ears. It's just a very visceral. I mean, your body thinks your arm's about to fall off. So it's like urgent, woo, 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 sending you every signal. I'm like, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. And I'm telling myself, it's okay. It's okay. You're going to be okay. You're fine. But I'm like, mother effer, it hurts so bad. So bad. You can't even cry. You know, the pain where you can't even cry. You're like, there's just no time for crying. Urgent. So I'm trying to Google, I'm fumbling around. And you know when Google like pulls up all these videos and they're like 10 minutes long and you're like, oh my God, I need someone to just to show me right now. So at this point, I'm getting desperate because the pain is increasing. I shimmy downstairs, down the hardwood floors because I really couldn't walk because keep in mind, my vision and everything is like that won't like you're going to faint. You know what I'm talking about? You're just like, I hate that feeling. I scoot downstairs, get down there, muster up the strength to my parents' door, beating on the door. Like literally, I was actually so sad. My mom was so sad. I was like, Mom, help me. I mean, truly a mom's worst nightmare when your kid's like panicking in the middle of the night, needing you, and you don't wake up. Because normally my mom always wakes up in a panic. You know how moms do that. They're always like, what? What's wrong? But since their door was, I mean, it really is, their door seriously is like 30 or 40 feet from this door that they locked. It was really far away. But the thing that got me is I cannot believe the weens did not bark. None of our dogs barked. No dogs were barking. I'm like, dogs, y'all bark at everything. The one time I'm in a crisis, no barking. Everyone was just asleep soundly. So I get into a ball. This is where my intuition just kicked in because I don't know how I did this. I get into a ball on the stairs and somehow I just bring my knees up to my chest, and with my knee, I just pop my shoulder back into place. Still to this day, don't know how it happened. Don't know how I came to that conclusion, but came back in. It was really only out of socket. I would say, I don't know, maybe 5 to 7 minutes, not super long. But I go upstairs. I lay down on the bathroom floor because I just still had that feeling like, oh, I think I'm going to be sick. It just was so painful. And in my head, I immediately was thinking, because me always like, why the hell did this happen? Like I always am going to like, what is the spiritual root of this? This is so random. I've had no shoulder issues. And I, in my head was like, I have got to really make training and getting strong a priority. And I'm going to go into this with you guys because realistically, so when your shoulder dislocates, I've already had the surgery. I'm not getting the surgery again. I refuse to get it into an MRI chamber. I do not like them. I also just I don't really need this surgery. I need strength to strengthen around the socket to keep like basically physical therapy so that the muscles are strong so it will not dislodge. And so that was my initial reaction. I was like, if I'm wanting to do these sort of higher level dance lessons and do a tour in the future, I need to be in really good shape. I need to be strong. I can't have, because my shoulder has felt weak to me for, I would say, since the last time it dislocated, but I didn't really pay attention to it because it was 1 week before we went into shutdown in 2020 and everything shut down. And I'm like, is the world ending? Not even thinking about my arm, just completely was like, whatever. We had bigger issues and everyone was so confused. It was that very early stage where it was very scary. So I wasn't really worried about my shoulder physical therapy because physical therapy was closed. Everything was closed. We were in complete shutdown. So I just didn't really pay attention to it. And I have had a few issues where I'm like, ooh, it kind of slipped or ooh, it kind of felt a little. I was kind of like, oh, I should probably do something. I should probably like, and then guess what I didn't do? That didn't do physical therapy, didn't take care of it, completely dislodges at my parents' house. Well, I wake up the next morning and I go to my sister's house and I'm telling my sister and her friend about the very interesting massage that I had, very unique. I want to say strange, but I feel like that's a negative word, but unique. And I call Austin and I tell him, I'm like, it's really weird. That guy was like doing all this like somatic work and like releasing things from my shoulder. And I I feel like he really did something because I don't know why it dislocated just in the middle of the night sleeping. Like I wasn't doing anything crazy. It was so weird. Like the other times it's dislocated, it's completely made sense. I was doing something crazy. Just absolutely made sense. This was weird. I'm like, maybe that guy really did something, like really did, I don't know. And Austin's like, no, I mean, I don't know, maybe, but he's totally like, I don't want her to think the massage I bought her for Valentine's Day, like ended up dislocating her shoulder. But I didn't think that. I didn't think negatively. I was just very confused. It's like, interesting. So I have, you guys know I'm being certified right now in Reiki. So I'm getting attuned to Reiki 1 and 2, and which is just so fitting because all of the stuff is coming up right now with my body. And obviously I need to learn how to do Reiki. So I have a Reiki one-on-one with Nikki who came on the podcast and she talks all about nervous system regulation. Such a good episode. You guys go back and check that out if you haven't already. I believe it's episode 64. I don't know. You'll see it, nervous system regulation in the title. Anyways, so I have a session with Nikki and she's doing Reiki on me. And I tell her, I'm like, my shoulder came out. It was so weird, blah, blah, blah. And I told her, I was like, I really think that I released something from my shoulder. And would it make sense for it to dislocate? Because that's kind of a traumatic experience as well. And she said, and so, like she did the body work on me and did the healing session. And she said, that she's like, I'm telling you, I had this like overwhelming feeling that there was some severe trauma or story or something stuck in your shoulder. And, maybe that guy was the catalyst, or maybe because when he was doing it, I was setting the intention in my head too, like, I'm going to release anything from that shoulder, any old energy, because it's had a lot of trauma. I was like, I want to release it. I'm sending it healing. Like I was kind of doing that too, just to also protect my container and space. Cause I didn't really know that guy very well. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to send this area love and healing and all the things. And so maybe us two together simultaneously created this, ripple effect where it dislocated. And she said that like sometimes when things dislocate, there really is something in the body that is trying to come out, which is so crazy. So I go into the Akashic records, I go on my morning walk and I asked my angels, I was like, why did my shoulder dislocate? It's just so random because here's the thing. It's painful. I do have a little bit of limited movement right now. I'm, got this big retreat. There was just a lot going on. I was like, shit, but I'm going to be okay. I've got some tape. Also, random little caveat, my plus one that's coming on the retreat with me, who's a meditation teacher and yoga teacher and Pilates teacher, because I wanted her to offer the girls also those experiences because I don't teach Pilates. She's a previous physical trainer. Physical therapist was her. She's I guess she's trained in physical therapy, but she also now teaches a certain type of physical therapy, Pilates hybrid. I was like, the universe was just looking out because that's just a funny little detail. She's like, yeah, I'm a physical therapist. I can help you with your shoulder. I was like, incredible timing. We are a perfect match for each other right now. But anyways, so I go into the Akashic records. I'm like, what the heck is going on? That was so random, blah, blah, blah. And I immediately start channeling information. They're like, there was a lot of energy of neglect stuck in that shoulder. Like it had been injured. You hadn't taken care of it. You hadn't paid attention to it. And now that you're stepping into this version of yourself who is devoted to taking care of your body, to honoring your body, like it literally needed to come out in a very dramatic way to dislodge those old stories, that old stuck trauma in your shoulder. Also, too, to really get your attention so that you're like, oh, I'm committed to you, body. Like it was like, I don't like to say a test, but almost like this opportunity of like, are you really committed? Are you really going to actually do the work? Because the last time this happened, I didn't do the work. And that's the difference of who I am today versus who I was a few years ago, who would always put other people's needs before me, who would always put work before prioritizing my own body, who would be like, it's okay, whatever. Me, 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 me. Like now, I'm stepping into this version of myself. I'm like, no, 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 my vessel is my priority. My vessel is my work. My vessel is my ability to channel messages and to help people and to be of service. And for me to do this tour that we are working on putting together as soon as I can freaking get my health completely back to 100%, which I will. It will happen. And I have to be strong in order to do it. I have a lot of responsibility, just as all of you guys do. We all have a lot of responsibility. And it's like, I have to be in this state of really, really good shape. And so I needed to release, I guess, some old energy or old story that there was this neglect or not looking at the body, not taking optimal care of the body. And it literally dislocated my shoulder. And here's the thing, this is all me just reading the energy, and you might be like, what the hell is this girl talking about? But in a way, it really makes sense to me. So I wanted to put this story in front of you guys because I had a couple of things happen. There's three reasons. One, when things get wonky or upside down or painful or whatever, on the other side of that is always an opportunity for growth, for a new version of you to arise, right? Always. Even that, I was like, the day I was about to go wedding dress shopping the next day and I literally couldn't raise my arms to put a wedding dress over my body. I'm like so bummed. But here's the thing, it was fine. Actually, you step into most dresses. So that was good. And I had a lot of help getting them on and it ended up being totally fine. It wasn't an ideal situation, but I got this message like, oh, wow, one, released some old shit in my body that was dying to come out, like urgently wanted to pop out of my body, and it released. I feel quite different, which is good. I have this new lens of absolute devotion. Like there is no questions asked. I immediately came home and got physical therapy. I contacted a few local trainers. I immediately was like, no bullshitting. I'm not going to be dicking around. Y'all know I love to say that. I'm not going to be boofing around. I'm going to actually take care of this and look at this and make it my number one priority. Even though, let me tell you what, it is so annoying that I've got to drive 30 minutes to physical therapy and I sometimes would be like, I have things to do. No, no, because we are devoted. And I think that's a lesson a lot of people need to hear is that your body will stop. It will stop you when you need to pay attention. And we don't ever want to get to those extreme points. Same with my autoimmune stuff. Too much stress, too much going on, too much this, too much that. And I'm just scaling back the amount of stress on my body every single day. And I'm creating a new modality that I'm going to teach people and help them. So it's all the lens of which you look at it, right? There is the shoulder coming out or something in your life, whatever that is for you. Maybe you've had an injury and you're like, this is so annoying. I promise you, there is a stronger, healthier, happier version of you a few months away. Okay. I don't know what the timeline is, but there is a version of you who was going to be so happy that that happened. And even this, when same trip, all kinds of just little silly, like wonky things were happening. I had just gotten, since I'm on this grain-free diet and I'm just really being mindful of what I'm putting into my body. It's a little bit difficult when I go home because my family is not on the same journey. And we went to the Whole Foods hot bar and I filled up this huge hot bar with, some good like vegetables, and I got some protein and some things that I just was going to have for the next like meal or two at my parents' house because like I said, they don't, worry about gluten and other things. And that's okay. It's not their job. It's my responsibility. So I get this beautiful hot meal, work of art. It's like $26 because it's freaking loaded. Like I was going to get a couple meals out of it. I walk outside. It's in like 3 bags, and it's me, mom, and my sister. My mom and sister put a bag in to the car. They pick up the bag that has my food in it. Of course, that bag, not the bag that was like heavy with 100 potatoes in it. Not that one. Doesn't break. The bag with all my food in it breaks. All of my food spills all over the concrete. Just completely. I'm like, and at first I was so annoyed because I'm like, oh, that was like $30, $27 worth of hot bar food just in the parking lot. And I really hate wasting food too. It makes me sad. I was like, no. But what was funny was I got in the car and my mom goes, "Oh no, sweetie, go back inside. You can get more, get more, get more." And I go, "No, I'm telling you, I have this weird feeling it just wasn't for me. I don't know, because I got some meat, and y'all know me. I'm real touch and go with meat. I actually know it's good for you and there's benefits, but I got to be in the mood. And in my head, I go, I feel like that would have made me sick. And it was literally, this was the night before I went wedding dress shopping in the morning. I just kept going, you know what? I feel like it was going to make me sick. I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't for me. It completely, the only thing that spilled, literally, like there was like all these bags. We had all this stuff. We had other meals. We had other things. Only thing that went everywhere was my food. And so it was so funny because mom's like, no, please, I will wait for you. Here, go back in. I was like, it just doesn't seem right. And it was so interesting because literally the next morning I woke up and I don't know if I was just trying to make myself feel better, but I genuinely thought to myself, I swear I think that food would have made me sick or given me food poisoning or something crazy. And Shannon was driving in, being the best friend that she is. She was driving in from Nashville to go wedding dress shopping with me and my mom and my sister, and I flew to Tennessee. The universe is like, girl, you don't have time to get sick right now. We got your back. We just punched a hole in your food bag. And you know what? That's just a silly little example, but I just want to remind you guys that when things happen, it's the same story as my spilled matcha theory, which I've shared on this podcast before, several episodes back. But when things are not going your way, or you feel like things are going awry and you're like, nothing is working out, oh my gosh, yes, sometimes it's because we're just in a negative spiral. And you know what? We're going to wake up the next day and it's going to be a new day. But sometimes the universe is like, girl, I got your back. You said you want to manifest a new, healthier version of you. Well, we've got to really shake some things up. Sorry, we had to dislocate your shoulder. No, I don't think the universe was like, we're going to dislocate your shoulder. But still, there was things in my body that were ready to be released. Also, random caveat, when I did a live stream last week, there was a girl in there. I believe her name was, it was like Woo Woo Ginger or something. If you're listening, she was on there and she said that she had a body part dislocate after she did a liver detox. Yo, that is like so specific. Like, what niched content? I'm like, how specific is that? But I'm telling you that when you do these energetic detoxes or these diet detoxes or all these things, setting the intention to detox old version of yourself, shit gets crazy. But it's good because that means you're one step closer to this version of you who has arrived, who is thriving, who is ready to take on this next level version of you. So I know these are kind of just really random experiences, but I want you to apply them to anything in your life where you're like, I'm feeling frustrated, nothing's working out, what's going on? It's the old cliche saying, rejection is protection. It is, even in the small things. I didn't want to get food poisoning and miss my wedding dress appointment because I found my wedding dress. Like, there were so many things, even with my shoulder, even though it's not optimal, it's still, I can still manage to do my daily life. And I'm lucky that I didn't get myself into a bad situation where I was already, doing live events and then I injure it. And then, that throws off kind of what I'm working on. I'm in this phase right now of just working on my body. And that was one more thing that just came up that I guess I did not realize had been neglected. That was the emotion code that I was tuning into, was neglected. So that is my long story short about, or not really long story short, it's been 40 minutes. That's my long story of the detox into how sometimes our body purges and crazy things happen. And if it does, that's okay. And you now have this lens that you're like, you know what? I really do believe everything is working out. And it is. You have a guardian angel that is watching over you. It is her full-time job, his full-time job, whatever you believe. There's God, full-time job, just to watch over you and take care of you. And even when you think it sucks and it's shitty and it hurts and whatever, just know that there is duality. When you feel those low lows, there is a high high on the other side. Okay. I promise you. I promise you, no matter what you're experiencing right now, the sun is going to come out. It always does. So those are just a few of my stories. I did find my wedding dress, and Shannon and I actually recorded a funny podcast episode together about how that's another segue. I'll probably make it into a separate episode about how, as a stylist, I'm a former wardrobe stylist. If you guys did not know, I did reality TV. That's actually how Shannon and I met. She hired me as her stylist. And I did a lot of album art and super funky, eclectic stuff. And I always really prided myself because I really do believe fashion is a big part of my life and a big part of my purpose and how I got into Instagram and all the things. And I love putting together looks. And I always tell people the key is to not pull a lot of inspiration. That's truly how you get into intuitive styling. You actually just tune into the person in front of you. You tune into their energy. That's why even before I had my spiritual awakening, I was always doing energy work. I just didn't know because not to brag, I think I'm a really good stylist. I really was. My clients were very happy. And it's because I learned about them. I learned about their story. I learned about their body. I learned about what made them look good and what made them feel good and what made them feel confident. And I was able to bring out their energetic signature because we all carry an energetic signature. And that is our authenticity. That is our self expression. And we wear that expression comes out through our clothes. They literally become like an extension of our personality. That's why fashion and energy work goes so in just together, handshake emoji right now, because it really is. It's accentuating yourself and it allows you to express emotions. You can show up, you don't have to commit to one thing. That's why I'm like, I dress all kinds of kooky, crazy ways. Sometimes I'm feeling boho, sometimes I'm feeling edgy, sometimes I'm feeling hot pink. It doesn't matter. You can be whatever you want to be. And I feel if you get too much inspo, quote unquote, or a lot of stylists will peddle around the same kind of catalog of looks for all their clients because it's what's trendy, that's not bringing out their energetic signature, right? So it's a very interesting concept. I can kind of go, I want to do more on dopamine dressing and energetic styling because I think there's so much that I could talk about there, and just having clients and also being on social media and having people react to outfits for so many years now. I love it, but that was my intention going into wedding dress shopping, is that I did not want to pull any inspiration. I wanted to go in completely blind. And on top, now I'm also going in with a shoulder injury. I told the stylist helping me, I'm like, listen, I can't raise my arms, and also I don't have any inspo because I actually I don't want to put myself in this box of having an unrealistic expectation, right? Sometimes we see so many beautiful pictures on Pinterest, and I love Pinterest. I'm not knocking Pinterest, but we get ourselves tied into seeing this beautiful model who's wearing a $50,000 dress that we don't know costs $50,000, but we see that and then we want to look like that, or we want that dress. And then when we go in, we're disappointed when we see the dresses in our budget. You see what I'm saying? Like sometimes it can create unrealistic expectations. That's why I'm like, sometimes just go in and flirt and play. And let me tell you what, I love wedding dress shopping so much, too much. Some would say too much. I tried on every dress. I was like, this is the best day of my life. I feel like a princess. I am having so much fun. I'm twirling. I love wedding dress shopping. I could go 100 more times. And it was so funny because Shannon and I both did the same thing. And we recorded an episode, which always, we were kind of being dramatic and just like silly about it. But at its core, I really did. I first I hired angels like a week before I went in wedding dress shopping. And I want you guys to know you should totally do that before you do anything. And if you don't know about hiring an angel, I have a whole episode that's called How to Hire an Angel with Amanda Merritt. And I also I have two. I have two, one with Amanda and then one that's just like how to hire an angel, and it explains the process. And it was so great because I hired an angel and I said, Angel, I need like a fashion wardrobe stylist to bring me the perfect dress. And I am going to this store. I went to Maggie Louise, and I'm not affiliated with them. Just want to give them an organic shout out because they're phenomenal. Carolyn helped me, and she's just so good at her job. And that was where I wanted to go. I wanted my mom there, my sister there, and Shannon was coming into town. I was like, I don't want to go on a cross country, like go to Miami, fly to New York, do all these things. Like I want it to come from my hometown. I want to support them. Like this is how I want it to be. And I hired an angel and I said, Angel, I want you to work with my people and send them the ideas for the perfect dress for me, because I just I don't want to be on a hunt. Some people really do. It's like a full-time job where they try on like thousands of dresses, and that would be so overwhelming for me. And I loved the process so much. I loved every dress that I put on. It was actually kind of overwhelming because I was like, wait, one, because you've never seen yourself in a full-blown like ball gown before. I mean, I haven't. A white dress. You look in the mirror and you're like, I'm a bride. It could have been like a tutu and a white tutu. And I'd be like, wow, me in a white gown. I love it. So it was so funny because I also, of course, I have a theme for my wedding. And that was where when I recorded a podcast with Shannon, both Shannon and I, after we picked out our dress, like had the time of our life, got in the dress, was like, I look incredible. I love it. I love it. And then we came home and we're like, wait, oh my God, should we have tried on like this and this and this? Cause you go on this spiral of like thinking that you need to try on more because also it's 8 months away or like 9 months away, 10 months away, whatever. The wedding's so far away. You're like, wait, holy shit, was I supposed to commit to that? Should I have tried on more? Blah, 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 blah. It's so funny because even my sister was like, I did that too. It's such a common, I guess you pick a dress and then you're like, wait, what if the trends are different in 4 months? What if it looks different? And we were all just like so tickled at dinner because all of us at one point, Shannon has completely like signed, sealed, delivered, picked out her dress, getting it customized. I'm also getting some customizations too. So I won't see the final until August. And that was where I was like, oh my gosh, what if in August rolls around and this, and I should have picked out something to look like the theme. And I really did. I went back to and my mom and my sister were like, you can go try on more things because I love the dress. It looked so good on me and I love it so much. And I don't think it's what anyone is going to expect me to wear at all. I kind of just like to take you guys on this wedding planning journey. I really don't think anyone's going to expect me to wear it at all. But then I did have some thoughts on the other side where I told my mom, I was like, well, for the theme, we were thinking about putting me in something like this. And she's like, yeah, I agree. Like, I actually see what you're saying. And that's where Shannon was like, oh my God, should I have tried on some dresses? Like, we were just like all over the map for like literally, I would say 20 minutes. And then we were kind of giggling about it. But I went back to the next morning. Mom was like, "Well, do you want to go back and try on a couple of other things that we could do because you won't see the customization pieces until August?" And I literally was like, "No, I set an intention with the universe. This is the place that I wanted to go. I hired my angels, and I had an incredible team around me. And I said, whatever dress is meant to find me, put it in my path." And I was like, "I'm not looking. I'm not going anywhere else. I know on my wedding day, I'm going to be so. Even though it's far away, still the wedding is quite far." I don't care if trends have changed. I went in with zero expectation, zero inspiration. I said, whatever looks best on me makes me feel amazing and confident and beautiful. That's what we're getting. And I really did. That's kind of just a very long-winded story of I really do believe what's in our path and what's been placed there is what's meant for us. And keep in mind, it's a beautiful dress. I could go wedding dress shopping every weekend. I think it is so fun. I think it's the most fun thing in the whole entire world. But at the end of the day, you got to commit. You got to pick something. And so that is just my story that I know this is a wedding dress and I want you to apply this to all things in your life that there's so much out there and there's so much imagery and photos and beautiful things. But at the end of the day, you really have to believe one that what is meant for you is going to be on your path and you're going to find it and it's going to intercept with you. And that is your path and your journey. And you've got to trust it and hold the faith and not want to like look around and be like, oh shoot, should I have done this? Or people are expecting me to be in this or compare or this or that. And I really did. I was like, no, I told the universe that's my situation. That's my scenario. And I believe it and I'm holding the faith. And I'm also now that I'm like kind of styling and accessorizing, I cannot wait for you guys to see how this is all gonna how it's all gonna turn out. And I also know Austin is going to love my dress. Not that the dress isn't really for the groom, it's really for the bride. It's really for you to just have your moment in your day. But also that was another reason I always told people like years ago before I was even engaged. They'd be like, what is your wedding dress going to look like? And I'm like, well, first of all, I want to know who I'm going to marry because I feel like you want it to fit your relationship in a way. The dress it's an extension of my energetic signature, right? And that energetic signature on that day does involve my union with Austin. I posted a TikTok the other day and I really was like, damn, weddings are some sorcery. If you think about it, there's such a powerful ritual that's happening. Like, there's all these witnesses and there's all these elements and symbolism and all these things gathering. Like, it is powerful. And I really do feel like some weddings I've been to, they've felt, when there's some weddings that actually they put the intention behind it. Of course, my ceremony is going to be pretty spiritual. We have a lot of spiritual teachers flying in from all across the world. So I think, but we're gonna, of course it's gonna be fun and we're not gonna make it like too crazy. But I did, of course, I wanted to bring in all of the elements of ground, of earth, certain flowers that are symbolic to me, water, all of the elements to set up a perfectly balanced day. So that's just a little bit of wedding update for you guys and how we wanted to, I guess I wanted to talk you guys through just the whole wedding dress process and how I kind of felt like there was so many things around the weekend that I got injured and all the stuff was going wrong. But it's so funny because now that I'm out of it, I'm like, oh, even the getting strong, like I really want to be strong for my wedding day. Like going into that wedding dress shopping experience, I was like, oh, I can't wait because like I know that I am going to be the strongest, happiest, healthiest version of me on my wedding day. And I'm so glad this happened several months out because I really am taking myself seriously. And I think that's such a powerful intention to take into a marriage. Like, hey, no matter what, I'm going to prioritize my health, my body, my everything. And you really have to in order to be a good partner. So I think it's symbolic that it happened right before I went wedding dress shopping. And I know this could be me assigning way too much spiritual meaning to things, but that's just who I am as a person. And I really do feel like everything is a sign. I truly believe we manifest every experience, whether it's quote unquote positive or negative. It is. And so I think that whole weekend is just such an interesting story time because I know that there is takeaway that you can apply in your life. And I truly do believe that we can never, ever, ever make a wrong decision because I really do. I was like, I know I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Even if I, for 1 second, am bummed that I was injured or this or that, I'm like, it was also perfect. It was perfectly imperfect. It was perfectly Anna Grace. It feels super on brand for me. So that's just a little update on wedding planning. And I love being a bride. I love being in white. I want like 6 outfit changes that whole weekend because I'm doing a whole weekend affair. I mean, I'm doing the most. I want the most white, full white. I want a veil on my head, honestly, constantly. I just love being a bride and wearing white. Several people did ask me if I was actually going to wear white, and I will say I tried on a couple of like dresses that had patterns and butterflies and things on it, but at the end of the day, I was like, I want to be a bride. I want to be white. And it just feels so angelic and so fun. Oh, that was the other thing. After I hired my angels, you guys got to go look at my Instagram. The day that I was trying on dresses, I posted a little photo of me in an all white outfit. You'll see the picture. It's pretty recent, and I'm in an all white outfit and I'm on a little platform and there's this beautiful white light over me and it's in a circle, and literally all of my friends who I sent the photos to were like, you look like an angel with a halo over you. And that's how I knew. I was like, my angels were there. I hired them. It really does. It's this perfect circular white light that looks like I'm wearing a halo on my head. And it's just so perfect. So even though there was all kinds of, I don't even know what to call it, maybe a few minor setbacks around the weekend, or some things didn't go, I guess, as I imagined. Mostly the fact that I was needing to go to the hospital after trying on my wedding dress. It turned out to be a fun story and also a new perspective shift. And also, I'm really excited for this new version of myself that I'm stepping into because let me tell you what, every single day I am moving and grooving and up leveling and aligning with my higher self. And I love to share these examples with you guys because I believe that there is a higher version of you who is constantly aligning with you, who is constantly trying to send you signs and messages, and she is rooting for you and supporting you. And I am rooting for you and supporting you guys from afar. Last story I will tell you, but I always set the intention before I get on the mic to connect with. I always say, like, I want to connect with AG University. I want to send my energy to help them, to heal them, to love them, and to hug them, or, whatever is coming to mind, something of that sort. And when I was on my retreat in the Bahamas with my friend Mimi, I had one of my friends who we had all been together for the same retreat 1 year prior. So we had met 1 year prior, hadn't seen her since because she lives in Australia. Shout out to my girl Alex. And she came up to me one day and she's like, this might sound really weird. She has such a cute Australian accent. I can't do it. I would, but I can't do it. But it sounds way better coming out of her mouth. She's like, this might sound weird, but I want you to know that a few months ago, I was listening to your podcast and I was going through a really hard time. And I went to sleep that night and I had a dream, and you came to me in the dream and you told me something really profound in the dream. Like you consoled me, you helped me. And I woke up the next day and I felt so much better. I felt so much peace. And I was like, oh my God, Alex, that's incredible. I was like, what did I tell you? She's like, honestly, I don't even really remember exactly what you said, but I was in a very low point and you brought me so much peace. And that is how I know that my intention through this microphone, you guys come into class every single week, that I've set an intention for my energy to find you. There are so many people that message me saying that I come to them in dreams, and I'm so glad that my energy was able to help, because that means my intentions are working, which I always knew they would, but it's so fun to see how they actually play out in reality, and that I'm helping a friend who I hadn't seen in a year in Australia. How cool is that? She was like, I don't want this to sound weird. I was like, that's not weird. I love that story. That's the best story ever. Are you kidding me? Like, I gave her like 3 hugs. I was like, I promise if you ever call on me energetically, I will help you in in dreamland, because that's my higher self. And she is looking out for my AG University dancing unicorns. Okay. So even if you can't get in with me to do a reading, that I promise you, I'm always setting an intention to send loving energy through your ear holes, through your car speakers, wherever you're listening. Thank you so much for coming to class. As always, if this episode resonated, or you have a friend who's needing a little lovin', send it their way. I really appreciate the shares on social media. I'm probably going to be a little bit off here and there, being out of the country. If you've tagged me and I missed anything, so sorry, but back to regular scheduled programming soon. In the meantime, I love you guys. Bye. As always, I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. If you feel so called, or if it feels aligned, I would love for you to leave me a review here. I always love reading your beautiful thoughts and messages. And also, you can find me at Anna Grace Newell on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And I will link all of my courses, AG University course curriculum, in the show notes, along with, if you're interested in booking an Akashic Records reading with me, my scheduling link goes out in my newsletter. It goes out once a month and it's completely free. I would love to have you there. As always, I'm a proud professor, and you get an A+ for making it all the way through the end. Love you.